Roads? It's the Ernest Hancock Show. Where we're going, there aren't any roads.
There aren't many examples in which you bring two former enemies together at the highest levels and discuss what might have been. I formed the hypothesis that each of us could have achieved our objectives without the terrible loss of life. And I wanted to test that by going to Vietnam. The former foreign minister of Vietnam, a wonderful man named Tua, said, "You're totally wrong. We were fighting for our independence. You were fighting to enslave us." We almost came to blows. That was noon on the first day. Do you mean to say it was not a tragedy for you when you lost 3,400,000 Vietnamese killed, which on our population base is the equivalent of 27 million Americans? What did you accomplish? You didn't get any more than we were willing to give you at the beginning of the war. You could have had the whole damn thing. Independence, unification. Mr. McNamara, you must never have read a history book. If you'd had, you'd know we weren't pawns of the Chinese or the Russians. McNamara, didn't you know that? Don't you understand that we have been fighting the Chinese for 1,000 years? We were fighting for our independence, and we would fight to the last man, and we were determined to do so. And no amount of bombing, no amount of U.S. pressure would ever have stopped us.
The Fog of War, Robert McNamara. It was a documentary that didn't get a lot of attention, and it was released in 03, 04. And I remember going to see it with a friend of mine, and it was fascinating. I suggest that you watch it. And they did not want that. Once he left the government, and he went to head the World Bank and all this other stuff. They didn't talk to any about that. You know, all they talked about was his service up through Johnson's administration in the Vietnam War, and how he's one of the whiz kids from World War II and doing numbers. That I tell you, this is how they see it. When you wage war, there were so many bombers being shot down by Messerschmitts in World War II as they were doing daylight bombings that they went to night bombing. But they needed to calculate how effective their night bombing was, because how many bombs did we have to drop over how much time and hit our targets? How many planes did we lose in the nighttime bombing and hit our targets versus what we lost and being more accurate during the day? And you start doing all the math, and this is where McNamara came in. Hey, man, you know, I do numbers. It's all math. You drop this many bombs, you kill this many people, you may lose more per raid, but in the long run, you get in shortened war and doing kind of math. Well, these are the kind of guys you want. We have this objective. Get what we want from these people. How many bombs do we have to drop to bomb them into submission? It never occurs to them that you can't bomb anyone into submission. You can bomb them into death, but the people left are alive and they're just pissed off. Can't even contemplate that. Don't understand it. So that's what we're looking at now. Remember, Dr. Ron Paul emphasized a book that was about dying to win. That's what it was. I was trying to think of it. Dying to win. And what it was is the common denominator wasn't religion. It wasn't Islam even. The majority were happening in non-Islamic countries. It wasn't about that. The common denominator was occupation. If you occupied a country, you can expect sooner or later, out of desperation, just like guys that'll, pour gasoline on themselves and ignite themselves and protest, some more likely to take some people with them. They go, no, no. You're going to be with me just like they did in Iraq, a government building there, taking out over 60 people. Boom. Yep, here we go. On Freedom's Phoenix now we have Syria Live Blog today. As the situation in Syria escalates, we update you with the latest developments from our correspondents, news agencies, and citizens across the globe. Okay, Al Jazeera's doing that. Bahrain Shia leader says Saudi force must go. Ali Salman says he does not want Bahrain to turn into a conflict zone between Saudi Arabia and Iran. Yemen crisis intensifies with factory explosion. Washington Post. An explosion ripped through crowds of looters in a munitions factory Monday, killing at least 78 and injuring scores in the latest sign of weakening government authority amid Yemen's 2-month-old populist uprising. So it's just going on and on and on and on. And in Syria, the president there is blaming protest on conspirators. Libya, Barack Obama says operation is example of how world should work. Really? You're touting this as a win? I mean, is it? Wow. I mean, it goes on and on and on and on. Alex Jones on Russia Today is talking about Al-Qaeda being created by the CIA, which, anybody that's been paying attention over the years knew this. This is back when in Afghanistan, Osama bin Laden being our buddy. It just keeps going on and on and on. And when we find this stuff out, what do? How do we react? They go, oh, that was years ago. It doesn't matter now. Well, if you see the exact same kind of rhetoric, it's like wag the dog now, that's over 10, 12 years later, and it applies now. Knowing this, a lot of things come out that make me feel a lot better. I'll give you some events that are coming up. Of course, we have Pork Fest. Some of the guys here are going to be there promoting wallet voting, onceuponadime.com, and they're going to silver and emphasizing that. That's a good place for them to do that. The last weekend in April, Easter weekend, I'll be coming back Saturday night, but I'm going out Thursday, and I'll be doing my radio show live from Philadelphia Friday night. I'm doing a meetup there, and then speaking at Fedstock 2, being put on in Philadelphia at the, in protest of the Fed, of course. And there'll be a lot of bands. Jordan Page is going to be there and some others, and there'll be, kind of a rock and rolling good time, and I'll be participating in that. So I'll be flying out that Thursday night after the show, and I'll be coming back Saturday night so I can spend Easter with my family. So there's a lot of things going on, people putting some effort into opportunities to be able to express themselves, but I'm more for the impact that it has on the people participating, on us. And a lot of times people, they hope that these events have an impact on somebody watching, or elected congressmen, that they'll see it and they'll be influenced by it, or somebody else, they'll be moved to do the right thing while they're in the belly of the beast. Or I'm going, no, I don't see that. So what we wanted to do is, with all of this experience and knowledge and what influenced me as a young person in my 20s and 30s, that we wanted to have an ability to compete, to get the ideas out there. Freedom's Phoenix was in our head in the mid-90s. We knew that when you were able to directly communicate the truth and people could say, I am pushing the truth button on my keyboard. Truth. I want truth. I push the truth button. When they do that, it's out there. And there's a lot of lies and crap and obfuscation and and deceit and dead ends, and there's all kinds. That's fine, but you have to trust humanity enough. I mean, I do. I mean, we're not extinct yet. We are trending in the right direction, I think. But you trust people to at least want to be perceived as good. I mean, that's why they do all this lying and promising. It's because they want to be perceived as being the good guys. They have to be perceived as being the good guys, or they don't get the support. It's easier to tell when they really are if you have a clear standard by which to judge them and a platform by which people can see the judging, the internet. When we come back, we're going to get right into what we've completed on Freedom's Phoenix. Now, we've talked about why. This has all been, I give you just some movie clips and so on, kind of give you a perspective. I'm like, yeah, here it comes. And we need to do something. But we did it. And we just, in the last week or two, we just finished what the original dream was, to be able to use the internet in a way that we have been very successful in having an influence in this country and around the world. We'll go over some of the projects and how we were able to do it so quickly by having a philosophy around an infrastructure that supplies the individual's ability to express themselves. Then, I'm going to share with you the future. Oh, going to surprise you. We'll be right back here on Declare Your Independence with me, Ernest Hancock, in just a little bit. Uncovering the secrets and exposing the lies. That's what readers of freedomsphoenix.com get every day. Readers of freedomsphoenix.com are constantly provided the information that detail the real news between the lines of propaganda about government policies and the true relationship we all have with coercive governments. Learn the true condition of our economy, innovations and technological breakthroughs in energy, health, computer science, and space travel. Learn the truth well before it's admitted to in the lamestream media, the media that is so last century. Corporate media has evolved into nothing more than distributors of government propaganda, but we now have a fantastic alternative. FreedomsPhoenix.com provides constant news updates on the issues that affect our lives in the most important ways. Our liberty and our property are under constant attack, and FreedomsPhoenix.com provides the understanding behind the propaganda while encouraging the participation of our readers. Join us at FreedomsPhoenix.com. That's freedoms with an S, Phoenix.com. FreedomsPhoenix.com, where the revolution between the ears has already matured.